So is there enough of a direct link between technology investment, business process, and financial results to determine the right investment in technology for the business?
We're in the process right now of implementing a company-wide production system. As a result of the way that we've come together, we actually had 7 production systems, and we're bringing one single product to bear all the way across our company. And as a result, we're going to see a dramatic increase, or excuse me, a dramatic decrease in IT costs because we have only one system to manage rather than 7. A great example of the sort of thing that make a purely IT investment the right thing to do.
Sekhar.
So one of the things the industry is trying to do is maximize recovery, enhance production. So any investment that's going in, such as into drilling technology or completion technology that can tangibly be related to increased production, is relatively easy to make. But then there's this other set of every company that's trying to improve operational efficiency, and that's where they're trying to invest in information technology. And that's the catch right there.
This is a big issue because when you try to benchmark and analyze the efficiency gains in an operation, it can be hard to separate points of efficiency improvement. You have people, process, technology, you have an execution model, you have your strategy and your capital. All these things in your real life business lay down on top of each other.
Tom, I think very few companies actually have metrics on the technology efficiency of their users. So the number of maps made, the number of wells drilled. I've argued for a long time that the drilling engineers have advanced dramatically over the last decade because we measure everything they do, from the time they get up in the morning until the time they're relieved by the next crew. While with the geologists drilling in a field, we really do not track their improvement in estimation of reservoir feet or reserves per well, and then hold them accountable to improve that as an individual.
I agree, and to Tom and Shekhar's point, one of the issues that we see is when you deploy technology, so often people do not redesign the business processes to take advantage of the new technologies that are being implemented. And so a lot of times you have companies that are trying to follow the same former business processes they had and trying to take advantage of the new technologies, and they just no longer mesh. And so often we see that one of the failures, the technology can be terrific, but one of the failures is that the business processes aren't realigned to take advantage of that technology.
I think this is very true. And, high-performance teams, if you study them, there is a magic that occurs when you get the right people together that are willing to change and work on an opportunity. So I think part of the success that we can achieve is when we're trying new technology and we know we have to forge ahead with a new process.
We were talking about the cultures, too, on centralized versus decentralized information groups within companies. And by being centralized, you really do have the flexibility of transferring personnel from one geography to another and having them start up immediately with the technology they're familiar with and the processes that they know. And so you have a lot of control on cost and volume discounting. Decentralized, very business focused, but the dilemma with decentralized is that your best practice often is restricted to a single geography and you can't move it from location to location. So I think the coupling that needs to occur in our customers is how do they quickly take advantage of technology breakthroughs that they see in one location and distribute it to the remainder of their company. And that's actually not that effective. A lot more companies are decentralized in their approach to best practice management than they are centralized like yourself, Tom.
Now, the inside scoop is a lot of the decision makers in the E&P industry are looking outside of their own company to try and make investment decisions in technology. But the truth is there isn't enough knowledge sharing as far as benchmarking and best practices within E&P. And I just wish there was more of that.
Yeah, I would like to just make a quick observation here. Value in our industry is generally created by finding the hydrocarbons or producing the ones that you have more effectively and more efficiently. So to the extent that we find innovation and technology that allows those two things to happen and gives us a leverage model that we can repeat that capability in a variety of markets, in a variety of settings, then I think we have a fertile ground for investment and technological innovation.
Now, can we name some of the investments that we have made as an industry? Sekhar.
Investments in the deep water market or tight gas markets or in technologies such as real-time geosteering or 4D seismic were some important investments. But I think the bottom line is if you look back, from 1967 onwards, ever since 3D seismic came into play, there have been so many incremental advancements made to every sphere of exploration and production technology. And so, I'd like to leave it at that.
We've made a lot of investments, I think, that have benefited the industry dramatically, scaling the applications. When we first started, we talked about kilobytes of data. We're very regularly now talking about how are we going to handle petabyte files as we go forward in the industry.
We talked about the need to process the data, not just to collect it, and talking about kilobytes, but terabytes of information. So I think that there is absolutely a payback of investing in technology that is challenged, like it was said before, by taking a different approach to risk and consider it cheaper to drill 100 dry holes than to actually sharpen the information that you collected. I definitely think that the economic model is in favor of investing on technology.
No, I would agree, and I think the common theme here is refinement and continuing to push the envelope in the knowledge that we actually extract out of the applications and capabilities that our industry has. So what's important here is that the resolution of what we do, the workflows that we can now generate by tying multiple application groups together, and the relative efficiency that we're seeing as an industry can continue to evolve. But it's based on fundamentals that we've learned around the sciences for some time now.
As we look at investments, we look at them differently. We would look at assets as being what drives our investments, and technology as being something that we use to facilitate those investments. So we're going to look for those situations where we can employ technology, and typically that's going to be existing technology, but state-of-the-art still the same. But existing state-of-the-art technology that we can apply to a specific situation and get the most out of the asset.
It's not so much about the technology itself as it is about using it in the most appropriate way. What are some of the creative ways technology is being applied in the office? David?
Well, I don't know about creativity, but so many companies now are getting to where you're not hand-carrying information out from the field into the back office so that you can understand your production levels and your imbalances and all of those different types of things. You're building the feeds, you're building the links so that information is flowing smoothly so that you can start analyzing the effectiveness of your business instead of spending your time focusing on just gathering all the data so that you can account for it. And that's probably one of the biggest things that have helped the back offices be able to accomplish what they've been able to accomplish.
And maybe better to operate the way so many companies are lean these days.
Right, and to kind of give an example, what a lot of companies are doing today are integrating their field data capture and SCADA systems with their production management and back office hydrocarbon accounting software. And what that really allows you to do now is if I was a pumper and I was managing 30 wells today, by being able to send that information to the back office and having analytics run in the back end and send that information back to me, I can now manage 100 wells because I know which wells are a priority in terms of what's wrong with them, which wells are showing anomalous activity in terms of their pressure, temperature conditions.
This is very true. I mean, we take worldwide all of our production, SCADA, telemetry data, financial data, budgets, and we aggregate them into a common view in a web services portal infrastructure, push that at the corporate, the reliability and integrity of the data is checked by our accounting groups, and alerts are fired off and generated back to our field personnel as well as our management.